A massive white elephant moves slowly across the African savanna, its pale skin glowing under the rising sun, against the golden grasslands. It almost looks unreal, like something from a legend rather than the natural world. Now imagine this. What would it take for something that rare to be turned into a luxury material? In today's global fashion industry, rarity often drives value. Limited editions, exotic textures, and exclusive materials can command extraordinary prices. But when that idea is placed next to a living, breathing animal, especially one as intelligent and protected as an elephant, the contrast becomes striking. Elephants are among the most recognized and legally protected wildlife species on Earth. International laws strictly regulate, and in most cases prohibit, any commercial trade involving them. So when claims or stories surface about ultra-rare elephant leather, they raise important questions about legality, conservation, and ethics. This isn't just about fashion, it's about how modern luxury intersects with wildlife protection in a world that is increasingly focused on sustainability. Because today, true value may no longer come from exploiting the rare, but from protecting it. Albino elephants are extraordinarily rare. In reality, most so-called white elephants are not true albinos. Instead, they are African elephants with unusually light pigmentation caused by genetic variation. True albinism, a condition involving a complete lack of melanin, is extremely uncommon in large mammals. In the wild, lighter pigmentation can make survival more difficult due to sun exposure and visibility to predators, which makes these animals even rarer. All elephants, including those with lighter coloring, are protected under international conservation agreements such as CITES, the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. This global treaty regulates and, in many cases, prohibits commercial trade involving endangered species. African elephants are also protected by national laws across multiple countries. In the United States, federal protections like the Endangered Species Act and the African Elephant Conservation Act strictly limit the import, export, and sale of elephant-derived materials. As a result, commercial trade in elephant hide is heavily restricted or banned in most legal markets worldwide. Despite these protections, the concept of albino elephant leather factories sometimes appears in viral videos, online myths, or fictional industrial narratives. These stories often blend luxury branding language with rare wildlife imagery, creating a dramatic but misleading impression. This topic matters because it sits at the intersection of conservation, legality, and consumer perception. In a digital age where striking visuals spread quickly, misinformation can shape public understanding. Examining these claims carefully helps separate fact from fiction and highlights the broader responsibility tied to wildlife protection. In a global marketplace, first, it's important to be clear, there is no legal commercial industry producing leather from albino elephants. Protected wildlife laws around the world prohibit the commercial harvesting and sale of elephant hide. Any claim suggesting a functioning factory dedicated to this practice would conflict with international conservation regulations. Biologically, elephant skin is very different from cattle hide. It is significantly thicker in some areas, up to an inch, and covered in deep wrinkles. Those folds help trap moisture and regulate body temperature in hot climates. The skin's structure is also more fibrous and uneven compared to cowhide, which is one reason cattle have historically been the primary source for commercial leather production. In rare and highly controlled circumstances, such as the preservation of historical artifacts or museum specimens, any wildlife material must be carefully documented. Permits, origin records, and strict regulatory oversight are required to ensure compliance with conservation laws. These cases are limited, transparent, and non-commercial. To understand the difference, consider how conventional leather production works with cattle. Ethical sourcing begins with traceability systems that track animals through regulated agricultural supply chains. After processing, hides are preserved through curing methods to prevent decomposition. The tanning process then stabilizes the proteins in the hide, transforming it into durable leather. From there, materials are graded based on thickness, texture, and quality before undergoing finishing treatments like dyeing, conditioning, and protective coating. Scaling this structured, regulated system to endangered wildlife would create immediate legal barriers, ethical concerns, and significant economic risks. Conservation laws, global treaties, and growing consumer demand for sustainability make such an industry not only impractical, but largely prohibited under modern international standards. Albino or unusually light pigmented elephants are incredibly rare in most cases. These animals are not true albinos but carry genetic variations that reduce pigmentation. Because melanin plays a role in protecting skin from intense sunlight, lighter coloration can create additional challenges in the wild. That rarity, shaped by genetics and survival, is part of what makes sightings so uncommon. Elephant skin itself is remarkable. In certain areas of the body, it can measure up to 1 inch thick, but thickness alone doesn't tell the full story. The deep wrinkles and textured surface help trap moisture and mud, which act as natural cooling systems in hot climates. This biological design is not about luxury or appearance. It's about survival. In contrast, the luxury marketplace often uses the word rare as a branding tool. Limited editions, exclusive materials, and small production runs are positioned as symbols of status. Sometimes, the rarity is genuine. Other times, it may refer to design scarcity, synthetic innovation, or marketing language rather than actual endangered materials. In the United States, consumer preferences are evolving. Surveys show growing interest in cruelty-free products and environmentally responsible sourcing. Shoppers increasingly ask where materials come from and how they are made. As a result, many high-end brands are investing in alternatives. Lab-grown leather, plant-based materials made from mushrooms or fruit fibers, and advanced biofabrication technologies are reshaping the industry. For modern luxury, innovation, not exploitation, is becoming the new definition of exclusivity. When it comes to wildlife protection, quality control begins at the international level. Global trade in endangered species is regulated under CITES, the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. This agreement between governments is designed to prevent overexploitation by strictly controlling or banning commercial trade in vulnerable animals and plants. Elephants are among the species listed for the highest levels of protection. In the United States, federal laws add another layer of oversight. The Endangered Species Act makes it illegal to import, export, sell, or transport protected wildlife materials without special permits. Violations can carry serious penalties, reinforcing the country's commitment to conservation and responsible trade practices. Within the luxury industry, sustainability standards have become increasingly important. Ethical brands now prioritize traceability, tracking materials from their source through every stage of production. Environmental audits evaluate water use, chemical treatments, and carbon impact. Animal welfare compliance ensures that sourcing practices meet established agricultural and humane standards. At the same time, innovation is reshaping material science. Modern alternatives aim to reduce environmental impact compared to traditional leather production, which can involve intensive water use and chemical processing. Plant-based leathers, recycled materials, and biofabricated textiles are gaining traction as viable options for high-end products. Together, international treaties, national laws, and evolving industry standards create a framework designed to balance commerce with conservation. In today's marketplace, sustainability is no longer optional. It is becoming a defining measure of quality and long-term value. The idea of albino elephant leather forces us to confront a powerful tension: the pull of rarity versus the responsibility of protection. On one side is the long-standing belief that the rarest materials carry the highest value. On the other is a growing global commitment to conservation, ethics, and long-term sustainability. In today's world, true luxury is being redefined. It's no longer measured only by scarcity or exclusivity. Instead, it is increasingly shaped by transparency, legality, and environmental awareness. Consumers in the United States and around the world are asking harder questions. Where did this material come from? Was it sourced responsibly? What impact does it leave behind as awareness expands? Industries are adapting. Innovation is replacing exploitation. Advanced materials, traceable supply chains, and sustainable production methods are becoming the new symbols of status and craftsmanship. The story surrounding albino elephant leather may sound dramatic, but its deeper lesson is clear. The future of high-end design may depend less on taking something rare from nature and more on protecting what makes it rare in the first place. Because in the modern era, responsibility may be the most valuable material of all.